Hello, I'm Donald Leggett, and welcome to the latest London South East CEO interview. I'm joined today by Barry Davis, MD at Scythian Mining. Scythian are an unlisted gold and copper miner operating in Kazakhstan. They're developing two projects, a prospective gold mine at Caucus in central Kazakhstan, and a prospective copper mine in the East Balkhash region of the country. Greetings, Barry. It's absolutely great to speak to you today. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Don. It's a pleasure to be here and meet you and present my my very interesting company.
Exactly, to make your investment case. Perhaps we can start by asking you to give us an overview of Scythian for those who haven't heard of you.
Okay, Scythian is a UK registered company. It was first, I founded the company in late 2017 with a few other local investors. Well, not local, but small investors, mainly friends and family. And we decided to do that because I perceived that the gold price was going to eventually start moving upwards in a couple of years' time. And I had an eye on two very, very good project ones at Caucus and one at East Balkhash. And both I perceive would become world-class projects in their own right. And that was based on 10 more years experience of working in Kazakhstan.
Okay, so you've worked for 10 or more years in Kazakhstan. Tell me more, what kind of a country is it and why was it your country of choice?
I first came to Kazakhstan as the country manager for Normandy Mining in 1997. Now, Normandy was, at that stage, the largest gold producer in Australia, producing over 1 million ounces of gold per annum. And they were expanding internationally. They discovered a large deposit in Greece, the Overcheck deposit, and they were working in Turkey as well. And they were moving into Central Asia, and I worked with them until 2000 here. And for the 3-4 years, and it was very obvious to me that this is a very prospective area. It's now known as the Central Asia Orogenic Zone, and it extends into China, Mongolia, and most of Central Asia. So it's a very, very prospective area, and I thought this is a place that I want to find some large gold deposits.
Okay, you've told me it's very prospective. Kaz Minerals and Glencore obviously think so. They both operate copper and gold mines in Kazakhstan. Is it an easy jurisdiction to work in? How have you found it?
Well, I'll put it this way. The Kazakhs have made some major changes to their legislation in 2017 to go on to more a JORC style and reporting standards. And also they've gone to based on the West Australia licensing system, they made it first in, first served to apply for licenses, which just completely throws the book out of all the rest of Central Asia. Hasn't gone anywhere near that, and they're probably still another 10 years away from it.
Oh, so it's quite sophisticated.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's very proactive. And this is why right now I was in PDAC this year and I gave a presentation on Scythian at a Kazakhstan Day, and also in Minex in Astana last couple of weeks. And there's a huge interest in Kazakhstan. A lot of it's come from Canadian miners. A lot of the majors are opening up offices here. Rio Tinto have been here quite a long time. Fortescue Metals Group is here looking for copper. Also, just recently, Teck, First Quantum, and Barrick Gold are also opening offices here in Kazakhstan this year. So it's becoming a very, very hot place to work, and it's rightly so. It is probably the best untapped area in the world to find large copper and gold deposits.
Okay, it's a hot area. So put the open pit gold mine at Caucus in context for us. Very briefly, you own 51%, and you've got roughly 500,000 tons of gold resource at the moment at 1.23 grams per ton. Take it away, Barry.
Yeah, Caucus is a very interesting project. When I first looked at it back in 2017, 2018, It was very small. It had 3 tons on the estate balance, and the locals didn't understand it. They're not interested in it. I had a good look at it, and we looked at this from satellite data, and I realised it has potential to be quite large, and we did a deal on it. Currently, we own 51%, and we'll own the 100% after IPO. Once we finish the payments on it. Now, Caucus is it has a huge silica illite alteration over probably 10 square kilometers. And it is what they call a tag style deposits in geological term, a thermal aureole gold deposit. And it is controlled by what they call a fold thrust system, which controls a lot of major deposits around the world. If you talk to Barrick or Newmont and these sort of big guys, they love that style of mineralization, and that's why they are interested in Caucus. And we've signed NDAs with Newmont and Barrick are looking at it, and also we signed a NDA, and we're talking seriously with a major Canadian company, which I will not name at this stage, who's been to site last week, and they're very keen to move on it as well and invest into Scythian. So we're well on our way of getting some serious people involved in Caucus.
Okay, we'll come back to funding in a moment. Let's just finish off Caucus. What does the work program for 2023 consist of there, please, Barry?
Yeah, well, based on the 5 million coming in with the Canadian investors, there's 2 phases of the exploration program. One is drilling out the existing deposit, which is about over 500,000 ounces. If we go deep enough, over 500 meters, it will probably get 2 million ounces. And that's 16,000 meters of drilling. We've planned that with the Canadian guys already. Now, then we want to step out and follow this along strike. And so we're doing aeromag data, we're doing ground geochemistry data over very large areas, and also IP data to try and follow these and find replicas of the fold belt, because folding is a bit like a wavelength, a musical wavelength. It repeats itself, and if we can find more of these fold belts, we will find a more or less a repeat of the ore body. So if we can find these, we potentially could, double it each time we find it. So we could have, instead of 5 million, we could have 10 million or even 20 million ounces if we can find more of these. So that's a plan this year, yeah.
Lots of potential. Okay, let me ask you about the CapEx and OpEx for Caucus. What does it look like in a low-cost jurisdiction like Kazakhstan?
It's quite interesting. Okay, the OpEx is definitely lower. We can produce because of the wage structures here, and also, you pay them less, but you generally have to employ more people to do the job. But generally, we can produce an ounce of gold for about $870 an ounce, all in sustaining cost, including tax.
Is that quite a competitive price?
That's in the lower end of the market. Most majors are producing an ounce of gold, probably 1,000 to $1,200 an ounce at the moment, except for some seriously big deposits like Cadia in Australia, which are getting much lower, but they've got copper as well associated with that. But for a normal gold mine, a gold only mine, it's a very good number, yeah.
And your CapEx number?
The CapEx, basically because if you import international equipment, good quality equipment from Scandinavia or America or Canada or Australia, you pay international prices. So the CapEx is much the same as anywhere else in the world. Construction costs are lower because the wages are lower, but generally, the main advantage here is OpEx. Not only labor, your electricity, your water, all these things. I mean, Caucus has got a power line going through the ore body right now. We have to actually move it. That's how crazy it is. There's power lines going everywhere in Kazakhstan. Thanks for our friends in the Soviet Union. Yeah.
Okay, and East Balkhash, you've got 20% of a copper gold mine or a gold project in East Balkhash in Eastern Kazakhstan. Talk me through your plans to develop that one.
Yeah. Now, East Balkhash is interesting a whole different. It's on the same structure as the giant Aktagai deposit, which is the biggest copper deposit in Kazakhstan. It's controlled by Kaz Minerals, and it's only 45 kilometers away from that. And it is a porphyry system. It's a cluster of porphyry systems. There's about 4 or 5 separate porphyry systems there. And there's a gold deposit there, which we discovered in 2018. Now, currently, this project is joint ventured out with Highland Gold, and they are earning 80% of it. And we have a free carry on 20% to production. Now, they're spending $7 million on East Balkhash this year, and I suspect if they don't get to where they aim to go, they might walk away because they're not explorers. They tend to buy things. So we may get it back in the next year or so, and do what we do best, which convert it to an ore body, or many ore bodies. Yeah.
So I did promise a chat about funding. What does your funding look like so far, and where will you raise the next round of funding from? What does it all look like?
Yeah, right now we're talking seriously with our Canadian investor for $5 million, but we would like we'd like to get another $500,000 or $1 million in fairly quickly through some high net worth individuals, or because we will take a while for the Canadians to come in, as these big deals usually take a little bit longer than we always expect. So we're ready to go. The season's it's no snow. We're ready to work in Caucus literally tomorrow, and so we just need some funding. That's all. And this is I'll be keen to get some funding out of the UK, and as we're a UK company, and move forward.
Okay, you mentioned that the aim is to IPO and thereafter start production at Caucus. Do you have a time frame for that? And might the intention be to list on AIM? You're IPOing, you're listing somewhere.
Yeah, well, our Canadian friends probably will want us to list on TSX, but I prefer to list on AIM. But at the moment, it's quite depressed at the moment, the UK market. But we'll be very happy to do a secondary listing on the AIM market once we're listed on TSX. But the plan is to list on the TSX probably early 2024. One of the things we're doing with getting back to the exploration program, we'll probably be doing a PFS on Caucus this year as well, and apply for a mining license early next year as well. So, yeah, we've got quite a few things on our plate right now to push this forward and really build it up.
Okay, it's good to be busy though. What does the current shareholder structure look like, and what are the risks and rewards involved in holding such an illiquid stock such as Scythian?
Yeah, there's 2 major shareholders at the present time, myself and a local investor who's put money into it, and he's a very good local partner. Has been very proactive and helping us achieve our goals. And now there is probably another 40 small investors holding, probably in total probably 10% of the stock. So at the moment there's about 72 million shares on issue, and we will be 92 by the time we hit IPO once our Canadian friends come in. And the idea is probably raise another I don't know, 10 million at IPO, and we've got other opportunities as far as paying for the capex. Capex might be 150 million. There's a lot of opportunities in doing ways of doing this at the moment, rather than just diluting yourself and raising it on the market.
Yeah, there's lots of debt equity mixes and so on out there, aren't there? Finally, Barry, last question. What do you think Scythian will look like in 2 years' time with a fair geopolitical winds at your back? Let's say Ukraine settles down and the markets open up again.
Yeah, I think once this year's a real game changer for Scythian. And once it opened up, I think the gold price is going to continue to rise in the next couple of years, and that's going to be a big changer for us. That's going to be one of the drivers for the share price. The other things, I think we'll find a lot more At Caucus, increased the resource quite substantially. Like I said earlier, I think it's probably over 5 million ounces, maybe more. So that once our results come in from the exploration this year, we'll get a lot more drill targets. That'll also, that allows us also to increase production in the future, and that's a driver as well. And so more gold in the ground, more resources, drive for the share price, and as well as success in our exploration, because we've got a huge database on the whole of Central Asia, collected over 25 years, that most companies, big and small, would die for. And so we can pick what, and we know where to get things cheaply.
Okay, that's it. Barry Davis, CEO at Scythian Mining, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you for putting the business in context. That was a terrific summary. Thank you very much. Meanwhile, do follow London Southeast on Twitter at London Southeast, or register on London Southeast YouTube to receive alerts to interviews and webinars just like this one. As ever, thanks for watching, and do look out for future interviews. Thank you.